Are you interested in 3D printing a set of master dice to mold? You're having problems with sagging edges and distorted numbers? Well, let's see if we can't fix that. So once you have your masters designed, and I'm not going to really go into that in this video, but I did use an OpenSCAD plugin called Dice RP Generator. This is version 0.11. You can find this over on the Dice Making Discoveries Facebook group in their files section. Generously programmed and donated by Damian Jaworski. But it's actually a pretty simple program once you get into it. You can actually open up this parameters over here. You can change font. You can increase text depth, size, all kinds of different stuff. And then what you can do is you can just output this as an STL. So I did that. I got my own font, designed my own masters. But what we're going over today is 3D printing those masters. So if you're using a resin printer, more than likely you're going to be using chitubox. It is the industry leader in 3D resin slicers. Most of these settings can probably be done on the other slices like Prusa slicer and stuff, but we're going to be using chitubox. We're going to go in here and we're going to open up our masters. We're going to start with just one. Let's make it simple. For example's sake, and say the D6. A lot of people have problems when they're 3D printing their D6s in keeping the corners straight, making it a cube. That's what we're going to show you how to do today. So first off, what you're going to do is you're going to load in your dice. You're going to want to rotate this point down. Basically, I just line it up like that. You want to try to get a side view and then get the point down, and this green rotational axis right here, if you line the top of it, with that you're almost dead on. Then we rotate to the other side, get as even as possible. I'm going to rotate that on its tip, get it as straight as possible. Okay, so now you've got your dice positioned on its tip. You may want to position it in certain ways to avoid islands. Like this is probably not the greatest right here because we have the 6, and as you can see right here, it has a circle. So anything with like a 0, a 6, 9, something like that, you might want to do that on the bottom. Just go ahead and do that. Just go ahead and rotate this how I would do it. There. Okay, so now we've got the 2. We got the 4, and we have the 1 on the bottom. My dice. Depending on how you numbered your dice. Should be the same. Might not be. But try to get the stuff on the bottom to not have any obvious islands. Independent islands. This one has a little bit one on the 2 there, but the way this is going to print, you're not going to see a problem in it. Alright, so here's the trick. I'm going to go in. We'll do our manual supports. On chitubox, you click this little tab over here, your standard view, your supports. I have my Z lift height at 5. That's up to you. The lower you have your Z lift, the quicker your stuff prints. 5 seems to be about the minimum, and I think that's default. And I'm going to use all light. A lot of people will use medium or heavies on the point right here, but I have found you don't need it. If it makes you feel safer, feel free to put a medium right here. Probably wouldn't put a heavy. Put a medium right here if you wish. In this example, we'll be using all lights. Most of these, I think, are standard. Here's my settings over here. You can see it's a contact diameter 0.5, contact depth 0.3. Cone, upper diameter 0.3, lower diameter 0.7, connection length 3. So that's my settings for my light supports. What you're going to want to do is you're going to start off Place the support right there on the tip. And you're going to want to position yourself where you can see this pretty well. Zoom in really well. What we're going to do is we're going to go down edge this entire dice. Okay. Oh, you see that? If you get off center a little bit and it does that, just Control Z, get rid of it. Place again. You might have to go a little farther out, closer to the edge. You're going to want to take these as all the way down. Get them as close as you can. There's another bad one. You want them straight. Straight as you can possibly get. Sometimes it's going to angle them no matter what you tell it, as long as they're all angled exactly the same, because you want the pull forces suction to be even. So you're all same. And what's going to happen is these are so close together that they will effectively become one solid fin. They'll all meld together. As long as you put them close enough to where they're touching like this, basically building a wall. Okay. Get in there. There we go. You're going to want to look at it, angle it a little bit, make sure you've actually gotten everything together. A little gap like that isn't going to matter. Those are close enough. Basically what you've done is you build yourself a wall of light supports. You're going to do this on all three face down corners. So you continue on all the way down each side. Speed this up. We'll do this one die. I'll show you what it looks like. I'll speed this up while I do this. Okay, so this is what your supports are going to look like. You're going to replicate this basically with all of the dice. You want to position them where there's no islands, or as little islands as possible on the bottom, and then go ahead and do each edge all the way to the build plate like this. And for the sake of time, I'm going to just go ahead and get this. I'll show you what a completed set looks like. Okay, so here they are. This is a full set of my masters done this style of support. See, they're at the bottom. Remember, point down on these and then any edge going down. Now here's the thing, is I don't print these with any supports on the face at all. Some of these look like they should have islands and support, and you can add, you know, if you feel like you need to, or if your font desperately needs it. You can like put a like a light support here, that if you feel like you need it. I have found no need for it personally. Any chamfering that happens right here due to the island pickups on these things. Remember, these things are so small, it's going to be like a dot. And as it prints, it picks it up. And there may be slight distortion right there, but that all comes out in the master sanding. You take enough off this surface when you sand and polish that any little teeny imperfection like that's going to disappear. But again, that's up to you. Like right here, like the 8. You know, would put a couple little ports right here. There's nothing wrong with that. It's more stuff to clean up. That is how it looks in chitubox. Now you just slice that and start printing it. So I'll see you over at the printer. We got one going right now, and we'll see how they come out. Yep, there she goes. She just finished. So let's get these gloves on and get her out of here. Confirm. Okay, they look pretty good. Let's check these bad boys out. You can see there's the fins. And you can see they printed pretty well. Almost, I'd say, perfectly on the bottoms. No distortions, no warping or anything. Let's get these cleaned up, and I'll show you how to remove these supports really easy. Dirty bath. Get all the excess resin off in my giant filthy vat of isopropyl alcohol in here. I use it to clean off alcohol, inks, all kinds of stuff. And as long as it doesn't get too bad, it's fine. You're just washing off that initial layer. We're going to do a second clean washing, which I'll show you here in a second. Let that drip off a little bit, and we're going to take them off the plate. Here we go. Okay. So there they are. Been initially dirty washed for just a second to get most of the excess resin off, but now we're going to take them off. Simple as that. Wipe that off. Back on the machine. Okay. And there we go. As you can see, these are pretty sturdy. Right now, they're on there pretty well. Those are just light supports, so you'll get very little contact with the actual dice. There's just so many and such a surface area that they hold on really well. For now, we're going to show you how to get these off really easy. But first, we need to make sure and do a final clean on these. I'm using some, when I've got some denatured alcohol in these trying times. Isopropyl alcohol, 90% is hard to find. But you can always go out and get you a gigantic can of denatured alcohol from Lowe's or your local hardware store for almost nothing. A little stinky, but it works great. So we're going to pop these in the Shake-O-Matic here with the supports. And then we're going to agitate and clean. You don't want to get too violent with it. You don't want to scar your dice or anything. But if you were super paranoid, you could do them one at a time, but that would take forever. So I'm just going to agitate gently. We're going to get most of this off. We're going to take them out. We're going to scrub them with a toothbrush, an old toothbrush, not your roommate's toothbrush. And then we're going to do another final rinse, and then they should be good to go, and then we'll remove the supports. So let's hop, skip, and jump through those steps, and I'll see you on the other side. Alright, they've been washed, and now we let them dry. Shouldn't take too long. I'd say maybe 15, 20 minutes. I'd let them sit, let all the alcohol evaporate off them. Give them a once over, look at them, make sure if you see any shiny parts and they're not frosted over, then that means there's still resin probably down in the numbers, and you may need to scrub them and re-wash them in alcohol. So we're going to let those dry and haze over. They will haze over as they dry. Polishing is what will bring them back to a shine. So, and that is not in this video, but we'll be right back as soon as these dried out. Okay, it's been about 15-20 minutes. We're going to look at these, make sure there's no shiny. I don't see anything shiny on here at all. It's looking pretty good. It's nice and frosted, which is how it should look. Yep, looking good. All right. Now, you could go in with some flush cutters and start snipping at these, but as you can see, they're very brittle. You can hear that in the snap right there. See? Yeah. Now, if you do that, then you risk damaging the edges of the dice. So here's a little trick to get these things off of here. I'll show you right now. Hot tap water. That's all you need. Now, this is just out of the tap, like as hot as it would run. Let it run for a few minutes to get nice and hot. You don't need to like microwave it or anything like that. It just needs to be pretty warm. And just take them. Make sure they're all submerged. The important part is the supports, not the dice itself. So just make sure the supports are submerged all the way in hot water. And you let them sit for about, I don't know, 5 minutes. Just enough time to let the plastic absorb a lot of heat and warm up. So we'll see you in about 5 minutes, and we'll take these out and I'll show you how they come off. By the way, I am using Sirayatech Simple Clear. Okay. So they've been sitting for about 5 minutes or so in hot water. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull them out, get our flush cutters, and run down the edge here. They should just melt off almost. You can tell there's no snapping, barely any pressure. I just did the outside edges, and you should just be able to just twist. There you go. Comes off pretty clean. Now, any residual edging right here are basically a little bumper that was caused by these and will come off in the sanding and polishing. You'll have a little raised edge. Now, if you really wanted to, you could go in with your flush snippers and trim that up, but I wouldn't. I'd leave that up to the sanding phase when you polish your dice. But as you can see there, those bottom side numbers came out pretty nice. So let's go through and take off the supports on all these, and we'll have a finished set of masters that just need to be sanded and polished. See, nice and pointy. Okay, there they are. There's the masters. Now that you got your masters, all you need to do is hit them with some sanding, especially with some Zona papers, the 3M wet dry polishing kit. These things are great, and what they can do for your master dies is turn them from something like this into something like this. So, I wish you luck. Good luck with your masters and making some fabulous dice. Make sure to leave a comment down there and tell me what kind of dice you've been making. I'd love to see them.